this is a Sony 200-600 f5.6 6.3 G OSS. I've been able to mess around with this lens for a while, get used to it, shoot a bunch of different things, and I'm going to kind of tell you what I think about it after owning it for a little bit. This lens is amazing, right off the rip. I love this lens. This lens is so fun to shoot with. It's really, really enjoyable. It's not too heavy, coming in at 4.3 pounds. It's not insane. Now, let's take the lens hood off and get a little bit closer into this thing. This lens, optically, is amazing. It has a 95mm filter thread, so you do have to mess around and spend a lot of money on filters if you need them, but realistically, you don't. It's a 6.3, a VND filter. Don't really need it. CPL, maybe, but I don't even own one, so not that big of a deal. And in the time that I've been shooting with it, I haven't needed any of those two. This is not a car lens. This is not anything where you need a CPL, so that's nice. However, optically, this lens is beautiful. Both at 200 all the way to 600, it's sharp. It renders beautiful, beautiful colors, and even wide open at 6.3 or 5.6, it is extremely sharp. I have noticed maybe a little smidge of color fringing if you're shooting in really harsh backlight, but other than that, this lens performs amazing optically, and for the price of around $2,000, this lens puts in the work. Compared to its counterparts like the 300, 200, or 400 f2.8s, this lens performs beautifully, and for the price, it's amazing. After using this lens for a while, there are a couple things that I want to point out. The first two are good. The last one is going to kind of be a drawback of this lens. The first two good things are, one, I have noticed the balance of this lens is amazing. When you're holding it on a body, and how I would normally hold it, tripod collar right in the palm, zoom ring up here, like that is so ergonomically amazing to where my fingers can just rest on the zoom ring. I think Sony did an amazing job ergonomically designing this lens with the tripod collar, because I can zoom in and out from 200 to 600 with just my 3 fingers, and it performs amazing. So I love the ergonomics of this lens. Built into the ergonomics and build of this lens, it is built like a beast. Weighing almost 5 pounds and almost 13 inches long, it's not a small lens. People will notice this lens, and I have noticed that. When I do walk around this lens, people ask me what it is, and it's a great way to connect with people and talk about camera gear, if that's something that you enjoy. However, this lens is built really, really strong. The tripod collar down here is amazing, and when you tighten it down, it can't come out if you were to loosen it unless you push the button, and then it will slide out, which I think is a really great kind of redundancy thing, which I didn't think was a big deal until I forgot that I loosened it and I put it on my tripod and it almost fell. But thankfully Sony was smart, built in redundancy, so I think that's a really nice thing. The build quality of this lens is amazing. Sony does a great job on their lenses, and this is definitely one of those lenses that, you know, showcases the craftsmanship even in the cheaper end of their lenses. The second thing I want to talk about is the autofocus. Now, the autofocus on this lens is surprisingly fast. Tracking birds and fast-moving objects like animals and stuff is amazing. When you're banged in, you're all the way in at 600 mil, that bird flies, zoom out, and you're trying to track it, this lens did an amazing job. And in a burst of around 60 photos, 50 photos, only a couple of them would be out of focus. This lens does an amazing job of focusing. Part of that is due to the autofocus modes over here, where you can stick it into the 10 mil to 2.4 meters, or the infinity to 10 meters, which I think is a really, really nice touch on this lens. But yeah, it's really nice to have fast autofocus on a lens like this. The kind of intertwined into the autofocus and the performance of this lens is going to be the stabilization. So this is a G OSS, which is optical steady shot, and this lens does an amazing job of it. You have 3 modes on it, and the first mode is going to be your all-purpose mode. That's going to be kind of what you want to leave it in, and then your second is for panning. If you were to do slow shutter shots where you're panning the lens just horizontally, that's going to give you the best performance in your steady shot. The final one, mode 3, is when you're doing really erratic action. For example, tracking birds. Mode 3 is going to be the best for you. That's going to give you the best performance from the steady shot. However, mode 1 is what you want to kind of keep it in. That's going to be the all-purpose. So performance of this lens, again, is amazing. The one drawback that I found to this lens is that the weight of it does kind of get to you. Although this lens only weighs around 5 pounds, it's very, very weighted back here. Although there is a lot up here, from about the focus ring back is where most of the weight's going to be. If I were to hold it right here, it would be weighted that way to this side. And you can definitely feel that in your hand. If you were to hold it like just up here, then yeah, it's kind of comfortable. But I found myself to let my arm rest and just hold it with one hand because my arm gets tired from holding this lens. When I shoot events or sports with it, I will notice I have to put it down because it does start to get heavy. Even for being a 6.3 lens with not the widest aperture, it is heavy, and that could be something that draws you away from it. If you want to look into another lens, the 100 to 400 is lighter than this lens. However, you don't get the same reach, but it is lighter than this lens. So that is the one drawback that has kind of stood out to me, is the weight of this lens. It's not insanely heavy, but it does get uncomfortable relatively quickly. I want to say around 20-30 minutes of hand holding it, it will start to get to me. But other than that, this lens is beautiful. Optically, it performs amazing. And yes, I do love this lens, and I would highly recommend buying this. So if you guys have bought this lens, let me know what you think about it. If you disagree or agree with anything I just said, let me know in the comments below. I do have another video coming out on this lens very shortly, so make sure you guys subscribe. And thank you so much for getting us to 4,000 subscribers. I hope you enjoyed. As always, peace. God bless y'all. And I'll see you in the next one.